Hello and welcome back, everyone. Skipper here with you, and lesson 4 on module 5, and we're going to be talking about live streaming, and specifically live streaming through YouTube and Facebook today. And in this lesson, we're going to do it just a little bit differently in terms of the fact that I have done a long write-up actually for this lesson. Instead of through the video, I've done a long write-up about how to really get through and use these, because live streaming today, and let's get into the intro on this, is this. Live streaming is a big deal today, and there's a lot of churches that are doing it, and I do recommend that you do it too. And I've heard arguments, I've seen arguments about if it's a good thing to do or not. I believe that it definitely is. One, for the people who can't make it to church, it also gives you a presence in the community. And honestly, if you look at the way our society works, if people just can't come to church every Sunday all the time, we have to recognize that that is life in the first world today. That is life today. There's a great pastor, author, blogger. He has his podcast, also Gary Newhoff, who I really like, and he talks a lot about this. There's a good article that I've linked to, and there's many others that he talks about. But the truth is that we need to be in these people's lives, whether they come to church or not. A lot of times the argument is, well, if we live stream, they won't come. And I mean, that may be the case for some, but honestly, the benefits much outweigh the problems with it. And so I do recommend that we do it. I do recommend that you do live stream your services. It's not as difficult as you would think it is. Really, it doesn't cost a lot of money. It does cost some because you're going to have a little bit of equipment, but it certainly doesn't cost as much as it used to, and it gets better and better all the time. And so I definitely recommend that. There are 2 services that I'm going to recommend that you use, and you can use one or the other, depending on your situation. YouTube Live, it's been around for several years. We talked about it in the last class, about using it as a Hangouts, with live Hangouts. But this one, we're going to do it a little bit differently, and it's a great option for live streaming and archiving your services. So if you want to ever archive all your services, it's a great option there. There aren't a lot of disadvantages to it other than the fact that you need to have 100 subscribers on YouTube Live to be able to name your channel, okay? And if you can't name your channel, then you have some strange numbers above it, and you just have to link to it. In any case, that would be the only disadvantage I can think of with it. And there's other things that they're asking now. It's not as easy as just setting up an account and running. You have to connect some other accounts, etc. We'll get into that further on. Facebook Live has just recently opened up. Also, they did a testing time for quite a while, and they've just opened it up to everyone for live streaming. And in my opinion, it has the most potential for churches. And there are several features about it that make it a great choice for the church. One is this: most of our community is already built around Facebook. And so whenever you live stream on Facebook, they are already connected. They can see, and it's connected right there. If you do it on YouTube, you're still going to have to share the link on Facebook. And so it's an extra step. Also, if people are following you, they're going to get the notification that someone goes live. And that's a huge bonus. It's not just that someone posted it and they have to look for it. They actually get a notification up in the top there saying, your church has gone live. So basically, I do recommend, probably over the 2 right now, Facebook Live. They're always, and it's ever changing. Now, I want to give a little background. We saw this this image not long ago in the first video of this, but I want you to kind of understand the difference. Understand what you're going to need in order to live stream. All right. And, look at this drawing. It's not great, but the first thing that really you're going to need in anything is you need a camera. You need a good HDMI camera that does a HDMI out. 1080p is much recommended, where you have HD 1080p, not 720p, but 1080p, and that you can output HDMI from your camera, live HDMI, while you're showing it. And so, of course, you'll put that on a tripod. We're going to need this. This is for a one camera setup, but we're going to take this and we're going to connect this to our computer. We're going to do this through an HDMI cable, and that's going to go from your camera to what is called a video transcoder. Okay? Now, we can get one of these. We'll talk about these in a moment, but we connect to that video transcoder, which also that connects to your computer. So this transcoder basically transcodes your HDMI image that's coming out of here, and it converts it to a form that your computer can handle and can read. Okay? We're also going to need good audio. You don't just want to get the audio off of this. It's not going to be good. No one's going to want to watch it for long. So you're going to want to get a live feed off of your mixer. Okay, so anything that's coming in the microphones, you're going to want to take it out of that. There are several ways to do it. Probably the easiest and one of the best ways is to somehow, get your audio engineer to get a TRS or a 1/4 inch audio cable to come out of this, a TRS cable out of your mixer, and for it to come in here. And here we are probably going to have an audio interface also. You could go direct, depending if you can get an adapter to go to 1/4 inch. A lot of times I've seen better results though going through an audio interface, and that audio interface is connected through USB to your computer. All right? And once those come into the computer, we're going to use a software called OBS Studio. All right? And OBS Studio is, of course, everything I use is, of course, an open source software. It's free and it's very, very powerful. And this, in here, we're going to connect the two. And so we'll choose this video in and we'll choose this audio in. We'll connect the two and we will send that off to either Facebook or to YouTube. All right? And that's just as easy as can be. We just connect it. And what I'm showing right here is this. I do recommend when you are live streaming that you connect this through an Ethernet cable and not through Wi-Fi, if at all possible. And the reason is that this is handling a lot of data. And especially on Sundays or whenever you're live streaming and you have events, there may be a lot of other people using the Wi-Fi, and it can bog down and it's going to mess up your live stream. I recommend, if at all possible, connect through Ethernet cable. If you have a laptop that does not have an Ethernet connection, there are adapters available for them, but figure out a way to do that, and that way you can run it through an Ethernet switch, an Ethernet router, something that's right there, and you can run that through. All right? And so this is the basic setup. I hope this at least gives you an idea of what we're trying to do. Now the camera, you're going to need a fairly high quality camera. And we talked about that, probably a 1080p. It needs to have, the one thing it does need to have is live HDMI video out. And I 100% recommend that it has a good optical zoom. All right. Optical zoom is when the lenses actually move on it so that it gets closer and you can still see very clearly. And so, you have 10x optical zoom, etc. Digital zoom is useless. The only thing that does is it takes the image and then it blows it up and it gets very pixelated. Digital zoom is useless. You can see these big numbers of, I have no clue what they're trying to promote today, but digital zoom means nothing. Don't look at it. Optical zoom is what is important. The reason is you're probably going to put your camera towards the back of the room, and you want to zoom up and be able to get a good frame of the people or the person that you are recording. And so that is important. The transcoder is, and as it explains here, the transcoder accepts a digital video input and outputs a stream that your computer can handle. Okay? The one that I use if we're talking about a one camera setup is this one right here, the Blackmagic Ultra Studio Recorder. I've put a link in there, and it's a little thing right here, you put the HDMI in. You could also use SDI in. I use HDMI. And then on this side, on the output, you can see right here, the output is Thunderbolt. And so this does require a Thunderbolt connector on your computer. All right. If you don't have a Thunderbolt connector on your computer, then you're probably going to need to go with a different thing. I would recommend either this one, USB 2, or the Elgato Game Capture HD 60S if you have USB-C, which is the newest. But right here, you'll notice this. This one is 154. The Thunderbolt one is 137. And it has the HDMI in. And then on the output, you have USB 2 on there. All right. And so, or USB 3, depending on which version you get. So right here, we have the HD 60S is the other one that we were looking at. And this has the output of also USB 3 and USB-C on there. So that is very, very good, the type connector. All right. And so the transcoder, I would recommend those. If you want to have more than a one camera setup, let's say you have 2 or more cameras, it does get a little bit more complicated, although not too much. And the difference would be this. Okay? The difference would be that you would have an extra device right here, and this camera would connect to there, another camera would connect to that, everything would connect to that. And then out of that, you would bring a cable into your video transcoder. And so you would still need that transcoder, either one of these. The one I have used, and we've used several camera setups, is this, the ATEM Television Studio. Now, this basically just connects in here, and as we can see, it has up to 4 HDMI ins. It also has 5 SDI ins. All right. And you have a USB cable that actually controls, it's kind of like a switch in there, and so you can change between which views you want. And you also have several HDMI outs, or multi-view 1, and then you have HDMI out. The multi-view is to connect a television screen so that you can see all the views and you can switch between them, etc. But you would take the HDMI out of this and you would put it into your transcoder. Now this does get expensive. It's about $9.45 on Amazon. You may be able to find it somewhere else cheaper. I'm not sure. But it's a very good interface, and that is something that a huge bonus to know, because, and it took me a long time to figure out how to do that, but basically that's what you do. You connect it to your recorder or your game capture, whatever that is, and then to the computer. And so that is how the transcoder works. An audio adapter or interface. So as I said here, you're going to need to connect your soundboard to your computer. Usually you're going to want to get a balanced output in the form of a TRS 1/4 inch audio, or you can get an XLR microphone plug out of that. And you're going to want something simple. You could use this, which is very simple. Basically, you have a USB connector, and right here you have an 1/8 inch USB in, but you will need an adapter for this. So you will need a 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch adapter for that. My recommendation, although it is more expensive, and this is just very powerful, is this, the Focusrite Scarlett Solo. I have this. I really like it. And basically what you're going to do is have your 1/4 inch input, the TRS, come right in here in the instrument. And you could even plug in a separate mic right here so that you can talk in and talk to the people who are online. And so this is definitely a good one. This is $99. So you are investing here in some equipment, but it is definitely worth it. I would recommend that one there. For computer, what type of computer do you need? In order to process HD video in real time and upload it to the internet, you're going to need a pretty decent one. I've used it on a 2011 iMac, and it was pretty good. It did the job. I have had issues. I've had to lower the resolution some. I would recommend, if possible, anything over 2013 and up that are mid to high end computers. All right, you can buy a used one or have a used one as long as they were mid to high end there. The computer can be anything. It can be Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever you're doing. But if you're shopping for a computer, I would recommend to look at a Mac. The Apple is definitely the creative computer, the creative interface they work on doing things for professionals in that aspect. And I would definitely recommend it for any type of creative things that you're doing, video, audio, etc. The Mac is that. If you're shopping, do that. Look at a Mac. They are more expensive up front, but in the long run, they're going to save you. I've got 3 Macs in my house. The one I'm using right now is a 2013 MacBook Pro Retina 15-inch. Great. It was high-end when I got it, and it continues to be high-end today. It is a great, great computer. I've got 2 older Macs, a 2009 MacBook Pro 15-inch and a 2009 Mac Mini. Both, I've done some internal upgrades on them, but both continue to run long and strong today. My kids use them to video record. They use them they do their YouTube channels. They like to play Minecraft and other things, and so they do their YouTube channels. They play games on them, and they love them, and they work perfectly. And when you think about that, we're talking about 7, 8 years old now, these computers, and they are still running long and strong. Haven't had issues with them. So I spent a good bit of money up front, but they are powerful computers. So I would definitely recommend doing that. If not, get a used iMac or something like that is 2013 or up in that. So whatever it is, I'm not sure which one you're going to go for. If you are shopping new, I would say go for a MacBook Air. If really it's business, I would probably recommend a MacBook Pro or an iMac more for the video working, and you're probably going to want to edit video on it and other things. So probably do a MacBook Pro or an iMac, depending on your needs. Okay. And so I would say visit your local Apple store. You can go somewhere else also. I know at Apple, since I work there, they are trained to figure out and work through you and find the best solution for you. So I would say if you have a local Apple store, go to it and they'll walk you through trying to figure out which one is the best thing to fit your overall needs. All right. In terms of internet connection, we're going to keep going right through here. And this is this. You are going to need a lot of bandwidth to stream your video in real time. There's no getting around that. And you need to have at least a 5 Mbps upload or megabytes per second upload speed and not download. If I go to speedtest.net, you can check your connection. It's going to find a server the closest to you. If I come here and I begin my test, so this does a quick ping, tries to figure out which is the best server to go. It does download speed test. And an upload speed test. So this right here is what you're going to want to look at. You want to be over 5. And here is the deal with that. So I've got 11 here. A lot of times the internet providers will give you big numbers, 60, 70, 80, 100, whatever that is. But they don't talk about the upload speed. The upload speed is always cut off. It's always much lower. So check that out and test it out what you're getting. You need to have at least 5 Mbps. And remember this, that you need to take into account that how many people have access to your internet connection during your services that you're live streaming. Because if you have an open Wi-Fi network, there might be a lot of people in there. You're also maybe downloading your same live stream to go somewhere else. And so I definitely recommend going over the 5, I would say 10 at least, to really be able to get everything done. And as I said before, don't use Wi-Fi for that. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the software that we're going to be using. We're going to use what is OBS, Open Broadcaster Software, Open Broadcast Studio. And right here, it's as simple as coming in. You can download it, and you choose Windows 7 Plus, OS 10, or Linux, whichever one you want to. You download it, you install it, and then we just open it up. And so I'm going to open up OBS. That's the icon. All right. And in OBS here, when we come in, we're going to look at, and we have different scenes. So I have my display, which I can set up here to basically connect to my. So right now, this is a scene that I have that I can show my display. I have my webcam, which is another one. And this, my other webcam that I use whenever I actually stream. And so right here, what we do, this is your preview field right here. And so you can see, and whenever we go in, you're ready to go live, you just click and then that transitions in. We'll get into that in a moment. This is what's going live. This is what is in preview. And so you're preparing these. We'll get into that in a moment. But what we're going to do is set this up. If you have a 1080p camera, here's what you're going to do. We're going to go in and do some setups. We're going to go and there's a few things that we're going to do. We're going to go into OBS settings. We'll go down to video, and we need to figure out what our base canvas resolution is. 1920 by 1080. This is 1080p. All right. If your camera does not have 1080p and it's a 720p, then you're going to change this. All right. And you're going to need to change that in reality to 1280 by 720. And also, you're going to want to go to your output settings here, and you're going to change the bit rate from 3 to 6,000 basically is for the 1080p, and for 720p, you're going to go down and probably anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000. Okay. Now, what you're going to have to do is test it out. Once you start live streaming, and we'll talk about that in a moment, once you start live streaming, what this is going to do is it is going to output this. And if you start to have some drop frames, or you see there's corruption in your live stream, then you're going to need to change these settings right here. Probably your output, your video bit rate is where you're going to want to go down. All right. There's a lot of different options that you can go through. You can always go to OBS's website and check out their docs. They have lots of tutorials, lots of things to check. Okay. Now, in the next part of this, we're actually going to go to our server. And so we're just going to make this really simple. All right. For YouTube Live, we're going to go to youtube.com. We're going to go up here, and we're going to go to our Creator Studio. And we're going to go over to live streaming. And we're going to go to events. And we're going to create a new live event. All right. Now, this is the same thing we did before. And we'll just test event 2. And you can set it up for when. You can do it today, now, or you can do it for any time. So you can set up your live stream for Sunday, the 25th, or whenever that is. You go through, you set it up. If you want this to be public or private or unlisted. And instead of quick, we're going to go to custom. Okay? And we're going to create event. Now, you can upload a thumbnail for this. The thumbnail, you can go in and find some sort of, I'm just going to get any image, the one we used the other day. We'll use this one. I'm going to choose that one. And this thumbnail is what people are going to see whenever they see the paused video. All right, we're going to come down here, basic ingestion, and select a bit rate. You're going to want to come right here, and we're going to choose 1080p. Okay. And select your encoder. If you want to come here, we're just going to come over and other encoders. And right here, this is the key. This is what you need. You need this, the stream name. All right. So we're going to grab the stream name, copy it, just come up here and save our changes. We're going to go back to OBS. We're going to go into our settings. We're going to come to stream. We're going to change this to YouTube. And I'm going to paste that stream name right in here. And I'm going to hit OK. So now you're going to see something. I'm going to come here. I'm going to hit start streaming. Are you sure? I'm ready. Great. And I'm going to come back over to my YouTube channel. Right here, I'm in events. You can go to the live control room. Right here it says the stream status is good. If I stop this, you'll notice. Here in a moment, this is going to drop off. There we go. We are not receiving data from your encoder. Please make sure it is configured correctly. So once you see that good, that means that all is good on this end. And so we have our live stream going right now. Stream status is good, 1080p stream, the health is good, etc. So now we're going to actually ready to preview stream. Are you sure you want to preview this live event? Yes. Okay. So now we're coming in. I'm going to go down to preview because we're not live yet. A lot of times you need to refresh the page. And there we go. Now you're going to notice as I talk that we have a delay, and this is inevitable. You're probably going to have a 5, 10, 15 second delay on there. That's just the way that works, but it definitely works, and we are up and running. So you can see the preview. When you are ready to go live, you click start streaming. Okay, and in this start streaming here, we're going to go in, and all we need to do is click start streaming, and we are going live. Okay, so the public view, so you can see what the thumbnail is showing. Watch the stream live at 1 p.m. there, but in a moment that's going to go live. And if you go over here, if you go to the watch page, I'm live. And you'll see that we are live. And so that is how that works. And the process is fairly easy also on Facebook Live. So I'm going to stop this. Stop streaming. Yes. Going back over here. Go to my live control room. And stop streaming. And we are done. Okay? So we are done there, and that is it. Right there. Now, Facebook is very similar. You're going to go to your Facebook page. You're going to go all right. And on your Facebook page, what you're going to do is go into Publishing Tools. You notice it's right here. And from there, we're going to come down to our video library. And we're going to go to live. All right. And immediately here, what it does is it gives me our stream URL. All right, and so right now what we're going to want to get is our key. So copy that key, take it back to OBS, go into settings, and we're going to go to stream. We're going to change this to Facebook Live. In our stream key, we're just going to put that one in. Okay. We'll start streaming. All right. So here we go. We're going to hit next. And so it's just fetching that. It can take a few seconds, as it says here. And there is a preview. And so it is live on there. You're going to notice that this will change in a little bit. Okay. So I am live there. It's actually a little bit less delay than on Facebook, than on YouTube that I found. Add a video title. My demo church stream. Video tags, you can put any tags you want on there, and anything that you want. Prohibit embedding if you want to, etc. Continuous, live video if you need to get the stream key again, etc. You could enable SSL. I don't know. I haven't tried that. It does have its issues, and so you can see that. You can test that out and see how it works. And then once you're done, you can tag people in here before you're done. You can post it. You can tell feeling excited. You can check in to the church. I recommend doing that with everything. The more you tag people, the more you put all these things in, people see it. You check in every time, and when you're ready, you go live. And we are live. I don't have any followers on this page, and so I hope no one actually sees it in there. But having said that, this is something that we can definitely use. This is our live broadcast. We can also go in and embed our website. If you come right here under the gear, if you click embed, that gives you the link that you need. You can just click copy to clipboard if you'd like. And what we can do, we'll go to our demochurch.site. We'll go to live. You're going to want to create this, and I've set up the instructions right there in. Just follow these instructions to create this page. All right, and then you're going to come in, and on this place right here, we're going to come in, and in our video, we're going to put our live stream. Okay, so we're going to update that. That should be running. I'm not sure how far behind it. Right now, the quality is low because I am using the internet for everything, but it will update and you have your live stream in there. You can do the same thing under YouTube. You grab that YouTube URL and you are ready to run. And so that is how live streaming works. And here's the great thing about this. And let me just come back here. The great thing about this is this. We can live stream not just to people outside of the church, but we can live stream to inside of the church easily through this. And the way that we do that is that you can show your service, for example, in the baby cry room or anywhere that you would like. What you need is a TV that, depending on which one you do it, if you do it on YouTube, get any TV that has the YouTube app, or get an Apple TV or an Amazon Fire TV, a Chromecast or Roku, and connect it to your TV, and you can access the YouTube app and find your channel, and you can show the live stream live. You can show that in any other room of your church or in another campus if needed. and you can do this at any place. Facebook isn't quite as easy to do yet, showing it through a TV, but basically what you need to do is either have an Apple TV or a Chromecast, and then it becomes very simple. You can use your phone to go through and do it. So you can watch the video down below to figure out how to do that, and you can just do this. But showing the live stream in other areas of the church is extremely useful. In the baby cry room, wherever you need others to be able to see your video, see your live stream while you're doing it, and they're not missing out on it all. And so, guys and girls, I really hope that this has been a blessing, that this helps. Thank you so much for your time. I know this video got kind of long, but it's a good one. So I will see you in the next one. God bless. Bye.